Welcome back with Happy Chappy. So this is medicine and sickness. So one time all we had was a medicine man or woman, and we went and we got natural herbs of different kinds and mixtures to heal ourselves. And even in that time, all it did was help prevent sickness from getting any worse. And sometimes it didn't work. Sure, we knew that it came down to the body to heal itself. Now, I can't say why it didn't work, but I can give you an explanation of how this was possibly the reason why they didn't heal. It came down to their way of focusing. First off, going to the medicine man in the belief that they need something more than what they have, the body. And when they get there, the medicine man's able to diagnose their sickness. So it gives them something more to think about in the belief, well, it's true in how I've been feeling. And of course, you've met it that way. In your thought, your feeling, and your action to go to the medicine man, to fix this. And so now what is happening is you're feeling more in that condition. You're thinking more about it. And so your body is transforming into that condition more. It becomes a way that you want rather than the body fighting it off and the mind helping it. You stay in that process of creating more and more of it, with the body following mind over matter, where you think of the sickness and you start to feel it, so you become it. And today we have doctors that does the same thing. Only we're taking pharmaceutical drugs. That is a industry that makes money off your sickness. Back in medicine times, I think it was just an exchange of a thank you, or bring them some offering as a thanks. But that's not what's happening today. What's happening today is they're seeing what you have in your pocket. And for that, you get the medicine to prevent what you've created within yourself, in all your thoughts, feelings, and actions that's brought you to this point, in all the happenings of who you are, and reinforcing it by going to the doctor to confirm it, and to confirm, well, you're going to need this, or you're going to need that. Losing the trust in who you are, of the body, mind, and soul, being the power of it all. You don't go to the doctor if you cut your hand. And you don't think of an infection unless it was put in here, into the mind. And so now when we cut ourselves, we think, was the blade clean? Are we infected? And what I would normally do would be squeeze it and the blood comes out. It doesn't circulate into the body. But if you're thinking of infection, then you're thinking about it going in instead of out. And the body tends to heal itself, unless it's told that it can't. And now, anything that you've been told on a negative perspective of sickness, even just sickness itself, it's came from what's around you. That has never been within you until you came to this world and listened to other vessels and started to operate like these other vessels, to become them, to become the same as them. I can't recall, but if you look it up, you will be able to find out that there's a lizard where you cut its tail off and it regrows. Well, if you had a baby that was born and didn't have that interaction with all these beings, vessels around it, and it had its finger chopped off, from its consciousness knowing of what it was in that physical form, to mutate it in a certain way to cut the limb, what you would find is with the right nutrition and all, or with the right environment, away from vessels that would influence the way of thinking, then that baby will regrow that limb. Just the same way as if you cut your finger, it would heal itself. Yet if you lost your finger, you wouldn't have that belief for it to grow again, so it wouldn't grow. Another example is in the rainforest, there's a tribe, I think it's 26, 27 different types of green is what they see. And if you put blue, or maybe not blue, would be a bad idea with the sky, a red, as it would be unknown to them, within them trees, a red tree, what you would find is on a conscious level, they would not see that red. All they would see is the green trees. Yet you would see the red. And if you went out there and pointed out that red tree to them, they would not see it. If you walked up to the tree, you would not be able to walk through it. But they would walk straight through it because it's not there in their consciousness. As everything is consciousness, the collapse of consciousness that creates form. And what you believe, you receive. So if you believe you're sick, then you will be sick. And how that belief comes about is how you feel. It's not so much in what you say, but it's the whole package. What you think, what you feel, and how you act to all that to create beliefs within you. You see, technically, you should be able to walk through walls. In the particles that create you, you're just energy collapsed into a shape because of consciousness, as your parents came together with two separate one consciousness in two separate vessels. And as them two separate vessels create a bonding in consciousness, they create another vessel that creates another carrier of consciousness, bringing you. So you can use that collapsed state to feel physical form as we do in this world. And influenced in that physical form, you get to see other vessels and sense how they are. So you start being that as consciousness takes it into that vessel and makes that vessel aware of what your consciousness takes in of all the other consciousnesses within the vessels that it comes across. So you start to be them. Yet all you are is consciousness, collapsed into a form of energy that is shaped in what we call a body, a vessel. And that vessel is able to create and recreate in how consciousness sees all. My point is understanding who you are and the journey that you take. I'm not saying don't go to a doctor, because if that's your belief, then that's what you should follow. Until you get that understanding of, you overpower that journey that you've created by creating a new journey in the knowing of who you are, and not of the knowing of what you've created by knowing who everybody else is that's around you. In how you've taken up your consciousness as you've learned from all others. This is Happy Chopper. Love and peace.